You read a book a week. You listen to 3 hours of biohacking podcasts every single day. You take meticulous notes. You highlight quotes from ancient philosophers. You look around at the average population and you feel intellectually superior. You believe you are doing the work. Yet if you look at your actual reality, nothing has changed. Your bank account has been stagnant for 2 years. Your business is not growing. Your physical body is exactly the same. You think you are on the path to elite performance. You are completely wrong. You are not learning. You are suffering from a highly sophisticated, socially acceptable form of dopamine addiction, and it is keeping you broke, weak, and paralyzed. Learning without execution is just procrastination in disguise. We need to dissect the exact neurochemistry of the knowledge trap. Most men completely misunderstand how dopamine works. You've been told that dopamine is the reward molecule. It is not. Dopamine is the motivation and anticipation molecule. It is the chemical that drives you to pursue a goal. In a natural, biological environment, you get a spike of dopamine to motivate you to hunt, to build, or to conquer. The reward comes after the physical execution. But modern self-improvement has hacked this system, and it is using your own biology against you. When you read a book about building a business or listen to a podcast about morning routines, your brain cannot tell the difference between the thought of success and actual physical success. It releases a massive wave of dopamine just for consuming the information. You get the exact same neurochemical high as the man who just closed a $10,000 deal, but you did absolutely nothing. You just sat on your couch and stared at a piece of paper. This is fake progress. You are artificially stimulating your reward system without paying the biological price of execution. Every time you finish a chapter, your brain rewards you. You feel productive. You feel like you are moving forward. But it is an illusion. You are chemically tricking your biology. And because this fake progress feels so incredibly good, your brain becomes addicted to the consumption of information rather than the application of it. You are consuming greatness to avoid the pain of building it. This is why you constantly jump from one book to the next. The moment the dopamine spike fades, you face the harsh, painful reality of actual work. Real work is boring. Execution is tedious. It does not give you a massive, immediate dopamine rush. It requires sustained, painful effort. So instead of facing that friction, you reach for another podcast. You search for another tutorial. You convince yourself that you just need to learn one more concept, find one more framework, or discover one more secret before you are ready to start. You are lying to yourself. You do not need more information. You are using knowledge as an anesthetic to numb the pain of your own inaction. Let us look at the clinical damage you are doing to your neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to rewire itself based on your actions. When you repeat an action, your brain wraps those neural pathways in a fatty substance called myelin. Myelin acts like insulation on a copper wire. It makes the signal travel faster and stronger. Whatever you do repeatedly becomes biologically hardwired into your nervous system. Here is the terrifying truth. If you constantly read about taking action but never actually take action, you are not myelinating the habit of execution. You are heavily myelinating the habit of hesitation. You are biologically training yourself to be a spectator. Every single time you consume a piece of advice and do not immediately execute it, you strengthen the neural pathway of passivity. You are physically programming your brain to separate knowledge from action. Over months and years of doing this, your brain becomes a graveyard of unapplied ideas. The gap between what you know and what you do becomes a massive, unbridgeable canyon. This is why you feel paralyzed. It is not a lack of motivation. It is biological conditioning. You have built a high-performance brain that is perfectly optimized for doing absolutely nothing. The more you learn without acting, the weaker your execution muscle becomes. You become an intellectual giant trapped in the body of a real-world failure. Yes, this separates the 99% from the elite. Average men consume 100 ideas once and do nothing. They collect concepts like trophies. They want the status of being educated without the scars of the arena. Elite performers operate on a completely different biological frequency. An elite performer consumes one idea and executes it 100 times. They do not care about reading 50 books a year. They care about finding one single brutal truth and hammering it into their reality until it yields a massive return on investment. The elite do not seek stimulation. They seek leverage. Pause and write this down now. This is the execution ratio. If you want to escape the knowledge trap and rewire your dopamine system for actual success, you must implement the execution ratio. This is a non-negotiable clinical protocol. For every 1 hour you spend consuming information, you must spend 10 hours executing it. If you read a book for 2 hours, you owe the universe 20 hours of relentless, uninterrupted application. If you cannot afford the time to execute, you do not have the right to consume. You must immediately declare an information fast. Stop buying books. Stop listening to podcasts in the background. Starve your brain of cheap educational dopamine. Force your biology to seek its reward from the physical completion of difficult tasks. When you cut off the supply of fake progress, your dopamine receptors will reset. The brain fog will lift. The hesitation will vanish. You will begin to crave the friction of the real world because it will be your only source of dopamine. You will stop intellectualizing your problems and start slaughtering them. Action is the only metric of learning. If your behavior has not changed, you have learned absolutely nothing. You are just a tourist in the world of high performance. Stop hiding behind books. Stop using podcasts to mask your fear of failure. The market does not care how much you know. It only rewards what you build. Break the cycle of passive consumption. Myelinate the habit of execution. Protect your cognitive bandwidth. If you want to master your human biology and translate clinical science into unfair advantages, subscribe to the channel. Close this video right now. Execute the protocol and do not come back until the work is done. I will see you in the next one.